In The Matrix, he stood calmly in the middle of a hail of bullets, raising his hand to stop each one, as if nothing in the world could touch him. On screen, Keanu Reeves became a symbol of quiet strength, invincibility, and magnetic presence. But in real life, there were no enemies he could dodge. Only silent losses that pierced deeply into his heart, the loss of a child before birth, the tragic death of his beloved, and the quiet fading of family members when the days seemed to offer no way forward. Even after earning hundreds of millions of dollars, Keanu chose to live differently from most. Quietly, he gave away much of his fortune to hospitals, to the film crews, and to people whose names no one ever knew. For Keanu Reeves, true power has never been about the stunts or the spotlight. It has always been about a kindness that refuses to fade. Join us as we explore the quiet yet extraordinary journey of a man who taught the world that sometimes the greatest heroes are the ones who carry their burdens silently, without ever asking to be seen. If you enjoy stories like this, please remember to like and leave a comment below to support our channel. He was the boy who moved through 10 different homes in just a few short years, growing up with one aching question: do I really belong anywhere? Keanu Reeves was born in 1964 in Beirut, Lebanon, but his childhood wasn't filled with warm, sunny days. When Keanu was just 3 years old, his father walked out without saying a word. One hazy memory remained a blank stare and the sound of the door slamming shut behind him. Alongside his mother and younger sister, Keanu drifted from city to city. Sydney, New York, then Toronto. Temporary apartments, endless school changes each place just long enough for him to learn one cold lesson: nowhere truly felt like home. The family wasn't starving, but instability was a constant companion. The rent was always overdue. His mother worked long night shifts, and there were nights when Keanu slept at friends' houses just to avoid the cold emptiness waiting at home. School was no easier. Keanu struggled with dyslexia, stumbling over words and lessons that others found simple. Classmates laughed. One teacher even told him bluntly in front of the class, "You'll never catch up to the others." At 15, after several minor fights and rule violations, Keanu was suspended from school not because he didn't try, but because he didn't fit neatly into the narrow mold expected of him. Standing alone in the schoolyard that day, he realized if the world had no place for him, he would have to carve his own path. And even in the darkest moments, small sparks of hope found their way through. One autumn evening, after watching a school play, Keanu stood under the soft yellow lights for a long time. Then he turned to his mother, the woman who had carried him halfway around the world, and said with a trembling voice, "I want to be an actor." His mother simply smiled, placed a hand on his shoulder, and said, "Then do what you love, son." In that moment, surrounded by cheap rented rooms and cold stares at school, a dream found its first shelter in Keanu's heart. Not the dream of fame or fortune, but simply the dream to live honestly, even if the world doubted him. From a boy who couldn't find a real home, Keanu Reeves took his first steps toward building something stronger, a home within himself. Have you ever felt lost? Too. And yet, one small word of encouragement, one fleeting moment, was enough to save an entire life. He once slept on the floor and survived on instant noodles. Yet just a few years later, that same face was lighting up movie theaters across America. At 17, Keanu Reeves dropped out of school. No diploma, no family connections, only a simple belief he had to find his own path. At 20, Keanu drove alone to Los Angeles, a city of bright lights and broken dreams. He rented a cramped room, shared with others, slept on the floor, ate instant noodles, and hunted for work one flyer at a time. The 1980s were the era of The Breakfast Club and Michael Jackson's music playing on every radio. Hollywood already had its young rising stars: Charlie Sheen, Rob Lowe, names everyone expected to dominate the silver screen. And Keanu, he was the quiet, awkward newcomer no one placed big bets on. Casting calls came. Rejections followed. Not handsome enough. Not sharp enough. Not memorable enough. His first acting gig, a small role in the sitcom Hangin' in 1984, paid just a modest check. But Keanu took what he could, a Coca-Cola commercial, guest spots on TV shows nobody remembers today. After a big audition failure, he once lay on the floor of his apartment, staring at the cracked ceiling all night, wondering if he had made a terrible mistake. It would have been easy to give up. But Keanu didn't. In 1986, he found his first real break with River's Edge, a dark indie film. Critics noticed his thoughtful gaze and quiet authenticity. No flash, no showing off, just a strange sincerity that stood apart from the loudness of the era. Then came 1989, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, a quirky sci-fi comedy about two carefree teenagers, cast Keanu as Ted. Even the crew had doubts, could this shy young man really carry a movie? But when the film hit theaters, audiences fell in love with his goofy charm. Bill and Ted grossed over $40 million, an enormous success for a small-budget film. And overnight, Keanu Reeves became a beloved face across America. With his first meaningful paycheck, over $95,000, Keanu was finally able to rent a decent apartment, help his mother and sister, and start a small savings for the future. But just as the spotlight began to shine on him, a darker chapter unfolded. In the early 1990s, his younger sister, Kim Reeves, was diagnosed with leukemia. Keanu, who had just stepped into fame, made a different choice. He stepped back. He turned down movie roles, spent more time in hospitals than at Hollywood parties. While other young stars were making headlines for their wild lifestyles, Keanu was quietly sitting by his sister's bedside. He never talked publicly about those long, difficult nights, but close friends shared that he often wiped away tears, vowing never to let his sister fight alone. That choice to protect what mattered most helped shape the man the world would come to admire. While the world raced toward fame, Keanu chose to slow down just enough to keep his heart intact. From a moldy rented floor to the bright lights of Bill and Ted, from surviving on instant noodles to receiving standing ovations, Keanu's journey reminds us true success isn't about speed, it's about never giving up. Have you ever had a moment when it felt like the world had turned its back on you, and yet somehow, just one small glimmer of hope, one little chance, made everything change? Some people, when they reach the top, crave even more spotlight. But Keanu Reeves chose to step back quietly, without fanfare. After the unexpected success of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Keanu didn't follow the easy path of a teen heartthrob. Instead, he patiently sought out more challenging, more mature roles. The real turning point came with Speed in 1994. This high-octane thriller about a bomb-rigged bus turned Keanu into a bona fide box office star. Speed grossed over $350 million worldwide and proved that Keanu could carry a film entirely on his own. No franchise, no ensemble cast. From a young man once sleeping on floors, he became one of Hollywood's most sought-after names, commanding over $1 million per role. But what truly set Keanu apart wasn't his success. It was the way he chose to meet it. While Hollywood was busy building castles of fame, Keanu quietly signed on for The Matrix 1999, a strange, philosophical project about virtual reality, freedom, and belief. No one expected the film to explode into a global phenomenon, earning over $460 million worldwide and cementing Keanu's place in cinematic history. From The Matrix alone, including salary and back-end profits, Keanu earned over $120 million. He had it all: fame, fortune, influence. But Keanu never flaunted it. In a city where mansions flash their wealth through towering iron gates and glittering fountains, Keanu chose a quieter refuge, one that reflected his true self. tucked away in the Hollywood Hills. Keanu's home, purchased in 2003, spans about 600 square feet across 2 modest stories, crowned with classic brown roof tiles and shaded by old fig trees. There are no Olympic-sized pools, no gold-trimmed ballrooms. Instead, a wide-open floor plan, sliding glass walls that flood the home with sunlight, oak wood interiors, cozy worn armchairs, shelves stacked with classic novels, Hemingway, Dostoevsky, Haruki Murakami, and a weathered guitar resting in the corner. Out back, rather than a lavish swimming pool, there's a simple wooden table where Keanu often sits with a coffee at sunrise or plays a quiet game of chess with close friends. Today, the market value of the home is estimated at around $8 million. But for Keanu, its worth has never been about the number. It's the one place he can shed all the roles, all the pressure, all the blinding lights, and just be himself. For a time, he also owned a beach estate in Honolulu, Hawaii, valued around $8 million, perched on cliffs facing the Pacific, with windows wide open to the sunrise and the lull of ocean waves. It was a place where Keanu wrote, played music, and slowed down when Hollywood grew too heavy. But in 2015, he decided to sell it. Today, the Hollywood Hills home remains his only residence, an unusual choice for someone who could easily own dozens of properties. In a world where success is often paraded with extravagance, Keanu Reeves still chooses homes where natural light and quiet are the most precious luxuries. If his home offers him peace, his vehicles bring him life. Step inside Keanu's garage and you won't find rows of flashy supercars. Instead, there's a blend of classic grit and understated power. His most prized car is a black Porsche 911 Carrera, valued around $200. It's not the latest model, nor the flashiest, but its timeless beauty mirrors Keanu's steady resilience through the ups and downs. He also keeps a vintage green Volvo 122S from the 1960s, a gift from his late friend, River Phoenix. Despite its wear and tear, Keanu has never sold it, preserving a piece of his youth and a bond that time can't erase. But Keanu's true passion has always roared on 2 wheels. Since his youth, he has loved the rumble of engines and the rush of the wind. That love grew into something larger in 2011, when he co-founded Arch Motorcycle with engineer Gard Hollinger. Their custom-built motorcycles, like the Arch KR-GT1, starting around $85, $1, and the Arch 1S around $120, are crafted with painstaking detail, each one a moving work of art. Keanu is hands-on with every model, personally testing and tweaking each bike to perfection. He once said, "When I'm riding, I'm fully present. No past, no future, just the moment." The world knows him as the action hero flying across movie screens. But in real life, Keanu Reeves may be happiest behind a helmet, disappearing down an open road, with nothing but the wind and the heartbeat of the machine. For Keanu, every ride isn't just about reaching a destination. It's about carrying memory, freedom, and a lifetime's worth of unspoken moments. Measured by wealth, Keanu Reeves easily ranks among the richest stars in Hollywood. Today, his net worth is estimated at around $380 million, remarkable, especially given how quietly it was built. From the Matrix franchise alone, his total earnings exceeded $120 million. The John Wick series added over $580 million in global box office revenue, solidifying Keanu's legacy as a top action star well into his 50s. Yet you'd never know it by looking at him. No mega yachts, no gold-plated mansions, no lavish celebrity galas splashed across the tabloids. Instead, people often spot Keanu sitting alone on a park bench, sharing a simple meal with a homeless man, or standing in line at a coffee shop like everyone else, worn sneakers, faded jacket, unassuming as ever. He once quietly gave millions to the Matrix crew members, those whose names never appear on screen. He has also donated generously to cancer research foundations, often without publicity, until the hospitals themselves issued heartfelt thank you letters. No grand gestures. No camera flashes needed. For Keanu Reeves, true wealth has never been about the numbers. It's about how you choose to use what you've been given. In a world obsessed with counting possessions, Keanu quietly reminds us a generous spirit and a kind heart are treasures that never lose value. After all the silent losses he's endured, Keanu Reeves has embraced a private, quiet life. Since 2019, he has shared that life with Alexandra Grant, an accomplished artist and writer. No flashy wedding, no screaming headlines, just two grown souls walking side by side in understanding and peace. A close friend once said, "Keanu doesn't need glamorous parties. He just needs someone who will sit quietly beside him." Now, in his 50s, Keanu is no longer chasing the spotlight. He's chasing something far rarer, true tranquility. And perhaps, after everything, he has finally found it. He once lost everything in a single year, yet rose again in a way that earned the respect of all Hollywood. At the end of 1999, while The Matrix was dominating the box office and propelling Keanu Reeves to the peak of global fame, his personal life was crumbling into heartbreak. His longtime girlfriend, Jennifer Syme, was pregnant with their first child. But tragedy struck. Their baby was stillborn. The loss not only shattered Keanu's heart, but also strained their relationship beyond repair. Less than 2 years later, Jennifer herself died in a devastating car accident. At a time when Hollywood was filled with fairy tale romances in the wake of Titanic, Keanu chose to quietly step away from the spotlight. No public outcry, no blaming fate, just a deep, dignified silence that the world couldn't help but admire. Amid personal heartbreak, Keanu also faced professional challenges. After the success of Speed 1994, he famously turned down more than $11 million to star in Speed 2 Cruise Control in 1996 because he wanted to perform Hamlet on stage in Canada. It was a decision that made Hollywood turn cold toward him for years. In 2008, he faced a $700,000 lawsuit from a photographer accusing him of causing a motorcycle accident, a case that was eventually dismissed. But the whispers lingered. At one point, an obsessed fan even broke into his home, pushing Keanu even deeper into a private, guarded life. Yet through it all, Keanu held fast to one principle: no blame, no complaints, never lose faith. When John Wick debuted in 2014, the world witnessed what could only be called Keanu Reeves' rebirth. The film grossed over $580 million worldwide, establishing Keanu as a new action icon for a new era. But for Keanu, the victory wasn't just about numbers or fame. John Wick was a mirror of his real life, a man who had lost everything, yet chose to stand back up and fight again with loyalty, patience, and a heart that refused to surrender. Behind the scenes of his career, Keanu also found new light. In 2019, he went public with his relationship with Alexandra Grant, a talented and thoughtful artist. No tabloid spectacle, no flashy announcements, just two seasoned souls finding each other in a chaotic world. In a Hollywood landscape filled with whirlwind romances and extravagant weddings, Keanu chose a different path, one of quiet, steady love. Compared to his contemporaries like Charlie Sheen or Mel Gibson, who struggled publicly with scandal and volatility, Keanu Reeves' way of weathering life's storms stands apart. No angry outbursts, no public defenses. He simply lived his truth and let time speak on his behalf. Perhaps the greatest lesson Keanu Reeves offers is this: you don't need to shout your worth to the world. If you live with patience, dignity, and unwavering faith, life itself will reward you with what you truly deserve. He was once the centerpiece of every tabloid in the 90s, yet what Keanu Reeves left behind for the world was never scandal, but kindness. In Hollywood, where the spotlight often chases glitter and fame, Keanu chose to walk quietly, with dignity. When The Matrix exploded into worldwide success in 1999, Keanu quietly gave away millions of dollars from his earnings, rewarding the technical crew, costume designers, and special effects teams, the unsung heroes working behind the scenes. There were no press conferences, no public speeches, just discreet envelopes handed out in person as a silent thank you. But he didn't stop there. Keanu also founded a private charitable fund to support cancer research centers, inspired by his sister's long battle with leukemia. He consistently donated to children's hospitals, yet refused to have his name engraved on any donor walls. A hospital staff member once shared, "He didn't want recognition, he just wanted to help." And that's what made him different. Even as his career roared back to life with John Wick, Keanu remained the same. After wrapping John Wick 4, he gifted each member of the stunt team a Rolex Submariner, each watch valued at over $10,000 personalized with their names, a permanent reminder of the journey they had shared. Today, Keanu's net worth is estimated at over $380 million, yet his life remains strikingly simple. He still lives in a modest home in the Hollywood Hills purchased in the early 2000s, not a sprawling mansion like many of his peers. His favorite car remains a weathered Volvo 122, sturdy, unpretentious, much like the man himself. His true passion lies with Arch Motorcycle, the handcrafted motorcycle company he co-founded, where each bike is built like a work of art, designed not for the masses, but for those who appreciate every heartbeat of the engine and of life. In a Hollywood often obsessed with red carpets and headlines, Keanu Reeves chose a different path. A quiet life, a deeper life, a legacy built not from obligation, but from choice. Perhaps the greatest thing Keanu has given us isn't the Matrix series or breathtaking action scenes. It's the reminder that true success isn't measured by how much you earn, but by how many hearts you touch. If you believe, like Keanu, that kindness has the power to change the world, don't forget to like this video and share the story that touched you most in the comments below. Because sometimes, as Keanu has shown us, even the smallest act of goodness can create something truly extraordinary.